Forget freedom as some sunny meadow. Picture this, a terrifying tightrope walk over an abyss, demanding relentless tension, focus, courage to stare right into the void. And that safety net below? You know the one. Cozy shared beliefs, simple answers, universal sympathy. What if that is the real peril? This is Nietzsche's ground zero, in Aphorism 44 of Beyond Good and Evil. Part 2, aptly named, The Free Spirit. He shoves us, face first, into a brutal question. Could today's prized freedom be just a shiny cage? And true liberty? Perhaps it is found in the very struggle, the isolation we are taught to run from. Get ready. We wrestle tonight with Nietzsche's fierce distinction, the common fluff of freedom versus his crushing vision for the philosophers yet to come. So, who hijacks the name Free Spirit? Nietzsche points fingers, Europe, America. He sees them everywhere. But what are they really? A very narrow, restricted, chained-up type of spirit. He snarls. Their impulses, the polar opposite of his ideal. He slaps a label on them, admitting it is a bad word. Levelers. Who are these levelers? The eloquent and prolifically scribbling slaves of the democratic taste and its modern ideas. Feel the acid in that description. He paints them as bereft of solitude, as clumsy, solid folks, honest perhaps, but fundamentally unfree and ridiculously superficial. Their fatal flaw, their diagnosis of misery, blaming old social structures. Nietzsche scoffs. That belief, he declares, lands truth happily on its head. Their grand ambition, the universal, green pasture happiness of the herd, security, comfort, ease for everyone, flying the flags of equal rights and sympathy for all that suffers. And suffering itself? Target acquired. Eliminate it. Destroy it. Okay. This sounds abrasive, right? A full frontal assault on modern democracy's core beliefs. It screams elitism, anti-democratic rage. And sure, hints of that are there. But let us dig. Is Nietzsche just attacking equality? Or is he pointing to something insidious? A structural creep in mass societies, democratic or not, towards mushy sameness, homogenization. Could his levelers be more than just political equalizers? Could they embody a cultural undertow, one that worships comfort, conformity, dodging the big scary questions of existence, trading the hard slog of cultivating uniqueness for, what? Think, the relentless push for consensus, those algorithms spoon-feeding us pabulum, the therapy culture that maybe, just maybe, treats deviation like a disease. Are not these the echoes of that herd happiness he despises? Quietly smothering the solitude, the struggle, the very things he insists are vital. Chew on that question, hold it tight, because Nietzsche spins on a dime. Bam! His counterpunch. We, who are quite the reverse, he declares. We believe the plant, man. It grew strongest how? Under the exact opposite conditions. And here it gets tough, disturbing, even. He contends that human potential, its ingenuity, its masks, its very spirit, it thrives under prolonged pressure and compulsion. The life will itself, he insists, has to escalate, explode into an unconditional power will, and then the roll call from hell. Harshness, violence, slavery, danger, concealment, stoicism, the art of experiment, and devilry of every sort. His claim, everything evil, terrible, tyrannical, predatory, and snake-like, it serves to elevate humanity, just as much as its saintly opposite. Hold on. This is where the ground gets shaky, ethically treacherous. That phrase, enhance the species, sirens should be wailing. It stinks of dangerous ideas others twisted his words into. Ideas Nietzsche likely never intended. Let us be absolutely clear. He is almost certainly not pushing social Darwinism, not preaching a politics of cruelty. His crosshairs are likely fixed on something else. The psychological soil, the cultural climate, the conditions he thinks birth exceptional souls, those capable of forging new values. His philosophers of the future, why the extreme language, to jolt us awake, to shock us out of our cozy moral nap, to make us face a terrifying thought. What if struggle, danger, even staring down the evil inside us and out there, what if that is the fuel, the catalyst for real growth, for shattering creativity? He sees our modern obsession, wipe out all suffering, and fears we might be wiping out the very possibility of greatness itself. Is there another angle, a less radioactive way to grasp this mechanism he's gesturing towards? Maybe think bigger, systemically. Ever heard of anti-fragility? From complexity science? The notion that some systems do not just survive shocks and chaos, they feed on them. They get stronger, more capable, because of the hits. Or, think, creative destruction. In economics, in ecology, where massive disruption blasts open space for new life, new forms. Now, listen. This does not excuse the historical horrors Nietzsche names. It absolutely does not endorse causing pain. But could it be a different lens, a way to view his core, incendiary insight, that relentless comfort, absolute safety? Maybe it leads to rot, stagnation, and that wrestling with hardship, inside and out, is somehow baked into the recipe for becoming something more, higher, greater. It shifts the focus, away from cheering for evil, towards seeing the strange, paradoxical power of difficulty in our becoming. So, having drawn that battle line, Nietzsche paints his masterpiece, the true free spirit, set up as the absolute antipodes to modern thinking. These are not your garden variety libris penseurs. Forget them. No, these are spiritual nomads. They wander intellectual continents, at home everywhere, yet settling nowhere. Never trapped in the comfy armchairs of prejudice or habit, they sidestep attachments. Honors, money, duties, even the siren song of the senses. They are cautious, and get this, crucially, they are grateful even for difficulties and in constant health. Why? Because these shatter the cages, the restrictive rules, the lazy assumptions. Their curiosity, relentless. They research to the point of cruelty, possessing teeth and stomachs for the indigestible. They court risk, fueled by an excess of free will. Their souls, labyrinths, complex, layers upon layers, front and back souls, fore and backgrounds, impossible to pin down. They are masters of disguise, hidden conquerors, collectors, ruthlessly efficient learners, inventive plotters, sometimes nitpicky, sometimes creatures of the night, even donning the mask of a scarecrow when needed to keep the meddlers out. And the absolute pinnacle, the defining mark, they are born, sworn, jealous friends of solitude, our own deepest, most midnightly, noon-likely solitude. Understand, this is not just being physically alone. It is a deep, intimate pact with an inner wilderness. And what does this solitude, what power resides there? Maybe it is the only forge hot enough to weld together those front and back souls, to face down the indigestible, the horrors of existence, without the crowd noise, without the simplifying pressure of the herd. It is here, in this profound quiet, perhaps, that the self is not just found, or passively accepted. No, it is actively hammered into shape through the agonizing work of self-overcoming, of value creation, that Nietzsche demands. This is freedom won, not handed out on a platter. A universe away from the shallow freedom of just kicking over old statues, without building anything at all. And he finishes Aphorism 44, staring right at us, at you. This is the type of people we are, we free spirits. And perhaps you are something of this yourselves, you who are approaching. You new philosophies? An invitation, a dare, a question left echoing. So, Aphorism 44 slams the door on easy answers, on the narcotic comforts of herd happiness. It champions the brutal, lonely road. Nietzsche hammers it home. Real free spirits, they are not coddled in safety. They are forged in fire, tempered by hardship, embracing the tangled mess, cultivating that deep, resonant solitude. Why? Because these are the conditions for true self-overcoming, for birthing new values. Freedom for Nietzsche, it is not a gift, it is a conquest. But this ferocious inner life, this capacity for the abyss, for the struggle, how does it collide with the story of human belief? Next time, we plunge into part 3, the religious character, starting with Aphorism 45. Nietzsche unleashes his psychological scalpel on the immense, uncharted wilderness of the soul, on faith itself, its bizarre twists, its paradoxes, especially the consuming, self-immolating belief we see in someone like Pascal. Brace yourselves. We are exploring the heights, depths, and range of inner worlds. How has religion sculpted the very souls Nietzsche wants to understand, and maybe liberate?